All right, now we are talking about chapter 9. The chapter 9 is the oneness of mentor and disciple. So, mentor and disciple relationship is very important in Buddhism. And in fact, Buddhism is a teaching whose core is based on mentor and disciple relationship. Wherever Buddhism is, mentor and disciple relationship will also be there. And following mentor and disciple relationship is actually the essence of Buddhist practice. It is only through this bond that Buddhism is transmitted. And in Nichiren Buddhism also, the mentor and disciple relationship is at the heart of the practice. Without mentor disciple relationship, the flow of this heritage is cut off. The spirit of mentor and disciple relationship in Buddhism is the great wish for Kosen Rufu. So if someone has to really achieve Kosen Rufu, then mentor and disciple relationship is the way, and that is the heart of Buddhist practice, and of course in Nichiren Buddhism as well. Now, if you look at the legacy of mentor and disciple relationship in Nichiren Buddhism, it starts right from Shakyamuni Buddha and how the entrustment happened to Bodhisattva of the earth, and of course to Bodhisattva superior practices, which is none other than Nichiren Daishonin. And the Nichiren Daishonin's legacy was taken forward by Nikko Shonin. So if we look at the last chapter, we also read that after at the last moment or during the last years of the life of Nichiren Daishonin, he entrusted the law to the six priests. However, only Nikko Shonin was the one who upheld it in a true form. The other five priests discarded it. So it passed from Nichiren Daishonin to Nikko Shonin, and then ultimately Nichiren to Makiguchi Sensei. So Makiguchi Sensei based entirely on Gosho, on the Nichiren Daishonin's writing, and then of course he formed Soka Kyoku Gakkai in 1929, 1930, and that's from there onwards the journey of Soka Gakkai started. And from Makiguchi Sensei to Toda Sensei to Ikeda Sensei, and now the baton has been passed to us, and we are the disciples of Ikeda Sensei as part of our mentor disciple relationship. Yeah. So why is this relationship so important? So that is a question we need to understand. That why exactly this relationship is something which is very important for us, because the law is conveyed life to life through mentor disciple bond. So it is a law which has to be conveyed in a one-on-one format, right? And that is the reason the significance increases, because the law is conveyed through life to life bonds of mentor and disciple relationship, and based on this law it is possible for us to achieve our human revolution. And Buddhism doesn't set forth mentor as a mystical, larger than life or superhuman being, right? However, as someone who strives together with his disciples to enable them to achieve their highest and loftiest potential as human being. So uh, we don't treat mentor as someone who is like a mystical or larger than life figure. So that is a crux here when we talk about mentor disciple relationship in a Buddhism context. And the mentor is the one who struggles with disciples to help them manifest Buddhahood in their life. Right. So, what is the secret of Buddhism? So that is something Nichiren says. So let me put Nichiren Daishonin's quote here, that outside of the attainment of Buddhahood, there is no secret and no transcendental power. So Nichiren Daishonin himself saying he was outside the fact that everyone can human being. That in itself is a biggest secret, and there is no secret bigger than that. And actually, there are no other secrets, right? It means the supreme and only mystery in Buddhism is the ability of human beings to attain Buddhahood in their present form. That in itself is the biggest secret. Apart from that, thus there is no other secret or transcendental power any other mentor, or for that matter Nichiren also had, right? So the actual secret and power is that all people can manifest Buddhahood, and you need not to go to somewhere else, and you need not that the secret has to be revealed, and it is a secret that is getting passed on from Nichiren Daishonin to Nikko Shonin and to the priest, and they are the only one who are the custodian of that secret. And if we have to attain Buddhahood, we need to get their blessings. We need they are the only one who can help us attain Buddhahood. No, there is nothing like that in Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism, for that matter. Now, the next natural question that arises is, what if the mentor is no longer physically present? So that is a kind of question that keeps on coming again and again, right? What disciples to do after their teacher passes away. So it's starting from Shakyamuni Buddha, Nichiren Daishonin, and in current scenario, Sensei passing away, right? So does it mean that without the Buddha or without Shakyamuni Buddha, without the mentor there to personally teach, the law through his own logic could not be transmitted in a true sense? Is it like that? Because we are again and again saying that mentor and disciple relationship is very important. Does it mean what? That if the mentor is not there in physical presence, and we are saying that mentor is someone who hold your hand and someone who walks with you to get you to the attain enlightenment and get you awakened, but if mentor himself is not there, how the legacy will be passing on, right? So that was a question with the Shakyamuni's death as well. Disciple feared the loss of guidance. So Sutra teaches that the core of Shakyamuni's very being is none other than the vow of the Buddha. And this is something which is written in Lotus Sutra itself. So Shakyamuni explains at the start, I took a vow, hoping to make all persons equal to me without any distinction between us. So, this is the vow to enable all people to attain the same state of enlightenment as he had. So in fact, in chapter 16, which is part of the essential teachings, it is revealed that Shakyamuni, as the Buddha, has continued to preach the law and teach and convert living beings in the Saha world based on this vow ever since attaining enlightenment in the remote past. This is the Buddha of actual attainment in the remote past. So essentially, what we are trying to understand is that it's not important that the mentor in a physical form is available. However, if we understand the vow to make everyone equal to Shakyamuni Buddha, right? That is a vow Shakyamuni Buddha took. So when till the time we are in the orbit of that vow, then ultimately the legacy will keep on passing on. So that is something which is revealed in chapter 16, where Shakyamuni Buddha said that I have attained enlightenment in the remote past, and since then I am continuously teaching, and that basically means vow continues beyond physical life. And till the time that vow is something sacrosanct, till the time that vow is followed, then the Buddha's life flows into disciple who share that vow. Okay. Now, transmission after the Buddha's passing. So, essential teaching also clarifies, and just to touch upon that point from the chapter 16, lifespan chapter, that essential teaching also clarifies that Bodhisattva who share the mentor's commitment, those who after Buddha's passing pledge to carry on the Buddha's vow and devote themselves to the Buddha's work of leading all living beings to happiness, are none other than Bodhisattvas of the earth. So, that is the reason during the ceremony in the air, Bodhisattvas of the earth took the vow, right? And the law is transmitted to disciples who make that vow their own and strive in the same spirit. This actually paves the way for conveying the life state of the Buddha to living beings in the ages after his passing, right? So even after Shakyamuni Buddha's death, the life state of Buddha can be conveyed to those who take action based on the great vow for Kusunufu and a spirit of selfless dedication, which constitute the core of the Buddha's life. So that is where the Nichiren Daishonin's role also comes into picture. That what Nichiren Daishonin did was he set forth Myoho Renge Kyo as a means for manifesting our innate Buddhahood and revealed that great vow for Kosundufu and selfless dedication are the key to Buddhist practice in the evil age of the latter day of the law. So what he did, he basically distilled down the entire Lotus Sutra in the form of a very simple mantra of Namyoho Renge Kyo, and he laid down the norms that if till the time we are following the vow which we made as a Bodhisattva of the earth and continue to dedicate ourselves towards Kosunrufu, we can continue to do Buddhist practice even in the evil age. And by doing so, he secured the transmission of the heritage for attaining Buddhahood in the later day of the law. The most important thing here is no deification of the mentor. So what's the meaning of deification of the mentor? It basically means we don't treat mentor as a deity. We don't treat mentor as a supernatural person, a transcendental person, a person who is larger than life, who is a superhuman being. So that is the meaning of no deification of the mentor. So till the time the deification doesn't happen, then till the time deification does not happen, the flow of faith, the flow of mystic law will continue. Now the deification of Shakyamuni Buddha began when his disciple lost sight of striving with the same commitment he had. Whenever the deity or the deification happens, it basically means that we are putting more power to them than the us. And that is exactly what happened in the case of Shakyamuni Buddha as well after his passing away, that a disciple lost sight of striving with the same heart as a mentor or the same commitment. If Shakyamuni, who attained enlightenment in the remote past, is turned into transcendent superhuman being, then the mentor-disciple relationship cannot function. So mentor-disciple relationship is when you are walking side by side with your mentor. However, when you start putting someone above the pedestal, that means you are giving them more power, superhuman, transcendental in nature, and you start believing that you cannot be up to the mark with that person. So that is a fundamental difference in the way Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism, Mahayana teachings for that matter, looks at this structure. And when disciples fail to emulate the spirit and conduct of Buddha, then Buddha becomes just merely an object of veneration. So we just do the veneration, do the puja of Buddha, or we do the worship of the Buddha. But ultimately, we are not trying to emulate or trying to take the same commitment as a Buddha himself. And till the time we are doing that, we cannot that cannot serve as a model for others' human revolution. So that is a very important point. That in the idea is that mentor is someone who is fighting alongside you. Mentor is a human being, no natural supernatural power. It is a power of faith only, and everyone is equal. That is a fundamental principle as part of the Nichiren Buddhism. Now, that is where the as a logical consequence, that is what Lotus Sutra also teaches, the universality of the universality of every universality and equality and instantaneous of achieving Buddhahood, right? Remember in chapter 2 we read about many treasures Buddha. His appearance in treasure tower alongside Shakyamuni Buddha was to vouch for, to put a stamp of authority over universality of Lotus Sutra. The key word here is universality. By universality, it means that this sutra is open for all, the most democratic way for anyone and everyone to attain Buddhahood in this lifetime. So that is what Lotus Sutra stands for. However, if we don't understand this universality, then there are a lot of chances till the time we misunderstand this universality, then it will lead to what? It will lead to authoritarian interpretation. It will lead to corruption. It will lead to a priestly control where some people will start putting themselves as above the pedestal. They will start putting themselves on a pedestal and saying that, hey, we know we have a secret passing by Nichiren Daishonin, and we are the one who are the custodian of the Lotus Sutra. But Lotus Sutra in itself, through many traditions, Buddha says about universality of the law in itself. So when this is correctly understood, Buddhism can serve as a humanistic and universal religion. However, when it is not, Buddhism can become narrow and authoritarian, deviating from the original spirit of Buddha, making the transmission of heritage as a source of corruption. That is what we are going to study also when we will talk about repudiation. Now, the most important, so we have understood what is mentor and disciple relationship, why this mentor and disciple relationship is important, how this relationship is a core of Nichiren Buddhism, what is the meaning of mentor, what is the meaning of disciple here. And there is one important thing which Nichiren Daishonin also talked about again and again in many of his lectures is around not begrudging one's life. So what exactly begrudging means? So begrudging, basically, if we go to Google and search for the meaning of begrudging, it means that to be unhappy that you have to do something. Begrudging attitude means the actions done with resentment and a lack of enthusiasm. And begrudge someone basically means to wish them ill or to envy them, to feel angry or upset because somebody has something that you think that they should not have. So that is the attitude which, if we start begrudging our life, if we start doing activities with a lot of begrudge, and that is an attitude not just in Buddhism but in our daily life also. Maybe I'm going to office, I'm not liking it, still I'm doing that work. I have some guests coming at my home. I know the guests are coming at my home. It's not a, maybe it's a planned event. Still, I am serving them with a without any enthusiasm. Till the time we do that in our life and in the Buddhism as well, I am doing activities, I am meeting someone, but I'm begrudging that activity, or begrudging myself as well. Till the time we are doing that, we are not going to attain Buddhahood. In fact, forget about attaining Buddhahood. If we have a begrudging attitude, we will start reducing our good fortune in the same proportion as well. So that is something we should never do. And if we have to really look to the life, we should look at the life of Nichiren Daishonin himself, that he never begrudges life despite so many persecution. So if we look at the life of Nichiren at the key timeline, so at the age of 16 he went out in the search of ultimate truth and studied multiple sutras to finally invoke Namyo Renge Kyo at the age of 32, right? And since then, since that day till the last day of his life at the age of 60, for almost 28 years of his life post invoking Namyo Renge Kyo, Nichiren was persecuted, exiled, was almost executed for the heritage of the law. However, he never begrudged his life. He showed that the endeavor of Kosa Tufi is one of overcoming an unending series of great obstacles. And when we start, when we start working without begrudging attitude, then we start feeling a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, and we start accumulating good fortune in lot of abundance. So that is what start happening as well. So if you look at Nichiren, he just didn't begrudge. He in fact relished those things. So in one of the Gosho, he said that I rejoiced, saying that I had long expected it to this, and he relished the obstacles, confronting them head on, and calmly triumphing over them. His whole life was characterized by dauntless spirit. Right, the simple manner in which he says, "But instead they have persecuted me in various ways, and finally had me banished to this island." So this in itself is a reflection of a serene state of being derived from living based on the law and not begrudging his life. So that is a very important element here, right? Now, talking of the elements, the other important element is the spirit of mentor. So, what is the spirit of mentor? So, we have understood why mentor and disciple relationship is important, how the legacy of mentor disciple has flown from the time of Shakyamuni Buddha. What will happen if the mentor in physical form is not here? Then, still, how the law will be get transmitted, and what is the right way of looking at the mentor? And now, let's look at what is the spirit of the mentor. So, the mentor is someone who has these two important elements. The first element is the great vow for Kosunrufu, and the second is selfless action in face of obstacle. And the one who shows with his life how to live the law. So that is what the spirit of the mentor is. So we can also interpret the Daishonin's willingness to undergo repeated persecution for his cause as conveying the essence of the conduct of the mentor. So the great vow for Kosunrufu to enable all people to attain enlightenment, and selfless action to triumph over great obstacle one after the another, and inspire the disciple to keep on emulating the same spirit as that of the mentor. Right, now once we have talked about the spirit of the mentor, let's quickly understand what is the spirit of the disciple should be. So Sensei is talking about the spirit and conduct of disciple here. Specifically in this Gosho, Daishonin qualifies Siren Bow as pure gold. So with regard to Siren Bow, encountering persecution on account of having become the Daishonin disciple, the Daishonin writes, "It pains me deeply to think of your anguish." So Siren Bow persisted in following the Daishonin through thick and thin, without being defeated by difficulties along the way. Right, so that's the reason Siren Bow has been termed as pure gold by Nichiren because of his tremendous faith. So if we understand Siren Bow background, that he himself was priest of Tendai school, then we will appreciate his dedication and persistence more. Because think of it like that, you yourself is preaching something, however still you are keeping your heart and mind open to understand any other Buddhism. And not just that, once you understand the supremacy of Lotus Sutra, then you have courage, conviction to let go of your priesthood and follow Nichiren Daishonin, choosing the course of enduring persecution together with Daishonin. That shows that Siren Bo most certainly had a deep recognition that Lotus Sutra was the Buddha's highest teaching, and moreover, the unwavering resolve and readiness to follow Daishonin. And that made him a disciple of Daishonin, which indicates that this mysterious bond can perhaps only be fathomed by Buddha's Shakyamuni and many treasures. So we have a deep connection sense when we should have a deep connection sense when we were working for Kosunufu. So it's not just we have a randomly encountered Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism, we have randomly encountered Sensei. It is a deep karmic bond which is making it happen. Now, even in the parable of Phantom City, one of the parables from the Lotus Sutra, it is said that those who had heard the law dwelled here and there in various Buddha lands, constantly reborn in company with their teacher. So this passage reveals the depth of mentor and disciple bond. In fact, voice hearer. So there is a one saying, as per Lotus Sutra, Shakyamuni's voice hearer disciples in Lotus Sutra were actually bodhisattvas only, who had undertaken bodhisattva practice in past lifetimes. Though through these words of the Buddha, the voice hearer remembered that they originally possessed the life state of Buddhahood, and voice hearer, by recalling their great wish from the distant past, discover and awaken to their identity as living beings who have carried out the same bodhisattva practice as their teacher Shakyamuni. So the mentor disciple bond is also a bond which is eternal, karmic in nature, where mentor and disciple, the teacher, keep on reborn again and again. They dwell in the same land for the great vow that they have taken, and it is mentor which ultimately make the disciple understand the power of the disciple within themselves, right? And just like voice hearer were always bodhisattvas of the earth, however, when Shakyamuni Buddha started teaching, then they started recalling their powers, and when that power got recalled, then they started exhibiting it in the form of a bodhisattvas of the earth. And they also able to understand the deep commitment they have with as their teacher Shakyamuni Buddha, and they are both committed to the same fundamental wish. So that is the actual role of the true mentor. That a true mentor in Buddhism is one who enables us to remember this aspiration that we originally possess the life state of the Bodhisattvas, and then encourages us to take action for Kosen Rufu and life to life transmission of that law. That is what the role of true mentor. And what is the role of true disciple? A true disciple is one who follows the mentor's teaching, who recalls that this most profound aspiration is in fact their own, and who convinced from the bottom of their heart that this is indeed so, and launches into action in accord with mentor's instruction. So that is the role of a true mentor, who make us recall our vow. And the role of the true disciple is that he follows mentor spirit, not just words. He acts on that vow once he get recalled by the mentor, and then with full conviction launches into action and strives to embody same life condition as mentor. That is how it is. And if we combine the role of true mentor and true disciple, that is what we get a essence of mentor disciple relationship, that they both have a shared vow. They have a shared vow translates to shared life condition, and both dedicate lives to bodhisattva practice. So both mentor and disciple dedicate their lives eternally to bodhisattva practice, and this point is crucial to understanding the essence of the Lotus Sutra. The sutra says that wherever they may be, practitioner of the sutra are sure to be born together with their mentor in various Buddha lands. It means that mentor and disciple are always born together, and the oneness of shared commitment of mentor and disciple is the essence of the Lotus Sutra. So that is what is called oneness of mentor and disciple, right? And regarding the essence of mentor and disciple, the disciple of Nichiren Daishonin, Nikko Shonin has given a guideline that the Daishonin's true disciple, he was the Daishonin's true disciple and direct successor. And he says that in the teaching of the Daishonin, one attains Buddhahood by correctly following the path of mentor and disciple. If one veers from the path of mentor and disciple, then even if one upholds the Lotus Sutra, one will fall into the hell of incessant suffering. So that is ultimately the essence of the Lotus Sutra. If we really have to practice Lotus Sutra, then it has to be done by following the mentor and disciple relationship in a true sense, right? And who has actually done that in a true sense? It is none other than Soka Gakkai. So it is the first three president of the Soka Gakkai who have revived in the present age an active and engaged mentor and disciple spirit, which is the essence of Nichiren Buddhism, which is the essence of Lotus Sutra as well, right? Were it for the appearance of the Soka Gakkai, were it not, if Soka Gakkai was not there, then the spirit of mentor and disciple, the spirit of Lotus Sutra and Nichiren Buddhism would have been disappeared. Because if we look from the journey, Nikko Shonin was a true successor of Nichiren Daishonin, and that continued for 700 years. However, in those 700 years, lot of distortion happened, and ultimately it became a kind of a funeral Buddhism, where more of ritualistic in nature, this Buddhism. However, it was only Sunesaburo Makiguchi who started introducing the engagement, discussion meeting, and empowering everyone. So if not were for the first three president, then the true spirit of mentor and disciple and the true spirit of Lotus Sutra would have been lost somewhere, right? And through the action of the first three president, the Soka Gakkai has forged this path of shared commitment of mentor and disciple, which is the essence of Buddhism that we have just discussed, right? So in conclusion, mentor and disciple bond is the lean lifeline of the heritage, and the lifeline of the heritage basis of attaining for attaining Buddhahood, and basis for human revolution. If we really want to attain Buddhahood, if we really want to do human revolution, if we really want to propagate Myoho Renge Kyo in the latter day of the law, then it can only be done when we are following the path of mentor and disciple. Mentor is the one who help us recalling our Buddha nature within, and then true disciple is the one who follow the mentor even in the darkest of the times, and ultimately with the same heart and same spirit as mentor continue the path forward. So that is what the mentor disciple relationship is. Thank you so much.